welcome to this week's DigiScrap layout. I'm Anita with BeanDesigns.com. Thank you for watching this video and sharing in my journey. This week's two-page spread will feature my oldest granddaughter. Most of these pictures in the layout were from a week in January when she hosted her other grandmother and I while her parents vacationed. This week, we'll open a new image, use guides, create a photo mat from background paper, discuss text, use the rotate tool, and add stitching to the page. Let's get started. First, we're going to review opening a new image and verifying that the image you have is set to the right settings. So to open a new image, we're going to go to File, New, or you could do Control N. We're going to look at Advanced options, make sure that we're at 300 dots per inch, and then we can set it at 3600 pixels by 3600 pixels or inches, 12 by 12 inches. We're going to push OK, and there we have. We can confirm that this image is correct by clicking on Image, Canvas size, 12 by 12 inches, 3600 by 3600 pixels. We're right here, you can see 300 pixels per inch. So this is correct. We are going to go ahead and get rid of that one because I have these two pages ready to go. I've selected my pictures, I have cropped them, and I've got them on my left page and my right page. So on the left page, we're going to work with this one picture, and we're going to put it up here in the left upper quadrant. And over on the right page, we have these pictures. We have a set of 3 that we'll put here along the bottom. And then we have a set of 2 and 1 for the top. Kind of just these are the ones that these were the pictures and cropped them and just kind of worked out to be like, oh, well, this could work like a cute little pyramid. So let's go with this creative style here. I'm going to show you how to do some guidelines today for helping with placements. So let's go over to our left page and you go to Image, and one of the options is Guides, and then it does another menu and we can do New Guide by percent. So let's choose that. Here in our box we have horizontal and by 50%. That's going to give us a guide right here at halfway between the upper and the lower. Let's do again. Let's do Image, Guide, New Guide by percent, and let's make it a vertical guide at 50%. And now we have good crosshairs to show exactly where halfway from left to right and halfway up and down. We can see that we probably need to shrink her. We can scale her picture here, and that's not I want to put a put a mat underneath her picture, so we'll need to scale her down. Let's go ahead and do that since we're here anyway. We'll make sure that we've got we have her layer active, and we've chosen the scale tool. Click on her, and then we can just scale her picture and apply that. I'll push my M key on the keyboard so that I can activate the move tool, and she's set nicely inside the left upper quadrant. Let's get some, actually let's go ahead. I'm going to go ahead and put guides right here over on my right as well, just to use for placement. Okay, we've got guides there as well. And so you can see I'm actually messed this, it's actually not, I don't have these guys right in the center. They really should be. So let's see what we can do here. Let's pull in some papers and some elements. I'm going to open up my kit. I'm going to use Eva Kipler's Judy Anne kit. I love Eva Kipler's designs. Unfortunately, she's not designing any longer. I will include the information regarding this kit in the description box for the video. I'm going to choose this pink here that has little dots on it. So I'm going to click on it and drag it and drop it into my image. And there it is. It's coming. So we'll do the same thing because I want this to be the background paper for both pages. I can move it, its layer, its position, and the layers. So let's go back to the kit. I'm going to use this plaid paper for something on both pages as well. So we'll pull that in. And then I'm going to put this one on the right page. We're going to do something creative underneath that pyramid there. These are some stitches. So we're going to click in the stitches. Look at that. And on the right page, this button here, we're going to use this button. Okay, back over to our left page. I'm going to use this journal mat. So let's pull it over. And this butterfly. Okay, I'm going to go ahead and just drag this butterfly right up to here. I'm going to put this journal mat in this area here. It's going to fit over here in the right lower quadrant. Apparently I'm not on the correct. Let me get on the, I need to be on the correct layer, scale, the scale tool. Then I can click on the journal mat and we can fit it into this, see the lower right quadrant. I'm going to scale it. There we go. So that's set. Let's go ahead and work on this left. Let's go ahead and work on the left page. So we pulled in two background papers on this left page. Let me hide the plaid. Okay, so this one is the one I want to be the main background paper. We're going to use the plaid paper as a mat for the back of her picture. So what we're going to do is going to choose our select tool over in our toolbox, and we're going to not have any. Okay, well, I just closed my tools. Recently closed docs, so you can, I just closed my tool options. So I can go to dockable dialogues to choose my tool options. You can grab right here and put it right back. Okay, there we go. There's my tool options. So I've got my select tool, have my tool options. I don't want to feather these edges and I don't want to round these corners. Now I'm going to go and make sure that I have the correct layer highlighted. So I'm on the plaid layer. I'm going to actually use these our guides. Start there, create a box. So now I have selected a square underneath her picture on the layer where the plaid paper is. I'm going to choose select, invert. So that now selects the other 3/4 of the paper. I'm going to push Control X, or you could use Edit, Cut. Now I've cut away the remaining part, and we just have showing the square underneath her picture. Let's do Select None, Layer, Crop to Content. We now have a background mat underneath her picture. That's up here in the top left corner. We have the journaling mat over in the bottom right corner. We're going to put the title here on the left. Let's go ahead and do that. I'm going to click my alpha tool, and then I can click into our area, and we're going to type in Grandmother Ruth, BB, and Ava. Okay, so this is a title. It obviously needs to be larger. So we'll go over to our tool options, and let's put in a size of 250 to see how that works. Okay, looks pretty good. I like that. That size is much better than it was. We do have the justify status it to be centered, so we can move that in a minute when we're done with the, you know what, let's go ahead. I'm going to click on the move tool, and we can move that over so that it's centered into its quadrant. So now I'm going to highlight the font tool, the text tool, click in that area again, so now we can modify this. I'm not really liking this color, so over in our tool options, I'm going to click on the color, and I'm going to use the tool the dropper. I'm going to come over and find this green here, click on that, and let's just make it a tad darker, a little bit more green. Push OK. Watch the, see, that looks really good. I want to change the font though. There it is. This is what I want. Look at that. So we've got the spacing looks good. It fills in that area nicely. It is a pretty font. It looks good. So what we're going to do to it is we're going to just add a shadow. So filters, light and shadow. We're going to put a drop shadow on it and make it stand out just a little bit. So we have our title. I actually do have the journaling already, so we can, let me just move that journaling over to our journal paper. Grab it over. Looks like I need to make my journal pad just a little bigger. And then we can move it away from the edge. Are we at the edge? Okay, there's the edge. Okay, good. That looks good. Let's go back to 25%. Okay, so that looks really good. Let's move over to the right page. Remember when we pulled the papers and elements over, I had us bring over a couple of papers on top of our background paper. So let's go to those. We're going to use them as mats underneath the photo pyramid that we have here. So I'm going to highlight the layer that has the solid pink paper on it. I'm going to choose my select tool. Because we've already done a selection, it is not feathered and it isn't rounded. We want it to be a straight cut. I'm going to do my square here. So I have a highlighted section on this 12 by 12 paper. I'm going to invert that selection just like we did earlier. I'm going to invert that selection and Control X to cut the outside part away. So we have this left. We're going to select none. We're going to go to layer, and we're going to crop that layer to the contents and that gets rid of that white part. We have this selected, we have this layer active. We're going to choose the rotate tool. We're going to grab the pink paper and we're just going to rotate it just a little bit. We want to keep all the corners on the page. We may have to grab it with the move tool here and just pull it up just a bit. So we've got that top right corner still on the page. I'm looking at the bottom left corner. We want it on the page, but I also want it beyond the photo here. So this looks really good. Now I'm going to make the plaid layer active, do our select tool. I'm going to do the same stuff again, just like we did. I'm going to select it. We're going to invert it. We're going to cut it. I'm going to select none layer, and we're going to crop to the content. Then we're going to rotate it, and we're going to rotate it to the right this time. Still want to keep the corners on the page. I'm going to apply that. Use my move tool just to move it just a little bit. Still have some over on the bottom right there. So in order to make these stand out, let's go ahead and put in our drop shadow on the plaid page. Move to the pink paper, drop shadow on the pink paper. See, da 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 da. Okay, on these two papers, let's do something else. Remember we pulled in this stitch line? So this would be like we were going to, in scrapbooking, you would sometimes actually stitch on the paper on top of the cardstock. So let's do it. So I want this to go, actually we're going to put stitching all the way on all four sides of the pink paper and the plaid paper. So let's rotate it to line up with the top of that pink paper. I'm going to magnify it to make it easier to grab. I'm going to push my move tool and move it up. Okay, let's magnify out. Looks pretty good. Looks pretty good. Let's duplicate that particular stitching because the bottom of this paper is going to be at the same angle. So we can just grab it and move it to the bottom. Okay, that's not moving very fast. I'm going to move it to the bottom of the paper, right there. Let's zoom out. So you can see it. You can see it right there. We can see it through there. So let's duplicate these. This is lining up with the top of the plaid layer or the bottom of the plaid layer. But let's get, I'm going to hide these to make it easier for us to manipulate this stitching. Move. And you want this one on top of the plaid. So let's go to the layers. I'm going to pull this piece of stitching. So now it jumped to be on top of the plaid paper. It's a little bit of, I kind of like that being not exact. See, it's still on the paper, but a little bit at an angle. And so we're going to duplicate this one, and we're going to pull it up to the top. Well, grab it. There we are. Zoom out. There it is. And I will do the same thing to the sides so that it will end up with stitching on all 4 sides of the mat. Okay, there you have it. I'm actually thinking that I probably would want to move my whole pyramid higher so I can see more of the details of the mats, the cardstock underneath. So if I do this, then I can see more of the details on the bottom part. So you can see more of the stitching and everything. So let's do that. Let's take a look at this button, this glass button that we brought in. We're going to use it as a photo prong. It's definitely much bigger than we need right now. It's almost as big as her picture. So let's do the scale tool, pull it down to a more appropriate size, apply that. Let's move it into place. Still seems a tad bit big. Let me pull it a little smaller. Okay. So now I'm going to duplicate this multiple times so that we can move it around here on our page. So let's put one here, one here. I'm sure you're going to notice that I did pause the video and I went in and I did some deleting on the stitching. I felt like the stitching was way too much going off the page. So I went and just cut the edges off. I did that off screen to save you guys some time from not having to watch me do that. Okay, so it looks like we might need, let's see, one more maybe? Let's duplicate one more. Well, that's not the one that got duplicated. Oh, there it is. It's highlighted. We're going to put it. Don't want that right by her head. Okay, let's go ahead and pull one of these over here as well. So we've got some little photos, little photo brads on her. Let's duplicate that 2 more times. We've got some little brads over here on her cute face. So we've got the basics. We've got our pictures. We have our background papers. We have some cardstock mats going on. We have some embellishments, some journaling, got a title going on. I do see that I need to go in and I want to give that texture around the edge of the background paper. I want to ink all the edges. So I'm going to do that. I'm going to fast forward through it so that you can see that I'm doing it, but there's no need for you to have to listen to me talk while I do it because you guys know how to do that already. There we have it. 2-page spread. Remember to save in the native format XCF, which preserves your layers, and save it as a JPEG. You'll want to print with using your JPEG. This is it, the completed layout. Thank you for watching and joining me in this journey. Feel free to subscribe to my channel and click the bell below so you'll be notified when the next video is ready. If there is something you want to know, leave me a message in the comment section below. Some of the techniques I use on every page layout were described in an earlier video, so feel free to watch my previous videos. If it's not there, let me know. Have a great day and blessings on you and your family as you make and preserve memories for the future generations through scrapbooking. Bye bye until next week.